Did there come a time when you began working for Mr. Depp?
Oh, yeah.
When was that?
Oh, that's later on. That's like in 1993.
What were you doing for Mr. Depp when you started working for him in 1993?
Well, he owned a place called the Viper Room, and which is a music venue, nightclub, bar, and bands play. And it was already open for 6 months. And the girl who was working, the person who was working as office manager didn't want to work there anymore. So the guy who was running the place for Johnny, who was a friend named Sal Jenko, another Florida friend from back in 1980 when we all first meet, he calls me up and he says, "Hey, Isaac, do you want to work this job?"
I don't think it's offered for the truth of the matter.
I mean,
That's fine. I'll overrule the objection. Go ahead.
At some point in time, did you stop working at the Viper Room for Mr. Depp?
Oh, yeah.
When was that?
Well, I worked from 93 to 98. In 98, I moved away.
Did you return to LA again at some point?
Yes, I did.
When was that?
I moved back December of 2002.
What did you do for work when you returned to LA?
Well, for 2 weeks, I worked at an art gallery, and then I went back to the Viper Room on New Year's Eve.
How long were you working at the Viper Room at that point in time?
It was another year, and then the place changed hands.
Were you working on anything else while you were working at the Viper Room in that time frame?
Yeah, I was sidewise. I was teaching myself art.
And what steps were you taking to teach yourself art at that time?
Books, learning how to draw and paint, and taking community college classes.
At some point in time, did you begin pursuing art on a full-time scale?
Yeah.
How did that come about?
Well, I was working at the Viper Room, taking classes, and then at one point, the club changed hands completely after a year, 2004. And I was given a choice of either keep working for these new owners, or Johnny, out of his pocket, was going to give a severance pay to whoever didn't want to work there anymore. So I took the severance pay, and then it helped me continue on to finish community classes, private classes, and then be able to transfer to Cal State University.
And did you get a degree from Cal State University?
Yes, I did.
What degree was that?
BFA.
What year?
2010.
After you received your BFA, did you continue to pursue art full-time?
Yeah.
Did Mr. Depp ever express an interest in your art?
Yeah.
When was the first time that happened?
Well, first time you saw a painting in 2008, and then the next time was 2012. I had made a painting and sent it to my best friend, in an email, and he forwarded it to Johnny, and Johnny emailed back saying, "Hey, when Isaac wants to sell that, whenever he wants to sell that, to go ahead and get in touch with me because I want to buy it."
Did Mr. Depp ever buy that painting?
No.
Why not?
Because when I brought over paintings, I had moved back to California, and I brought over a bunch of paintings for him to look at and see if he wants any, to buy any. And he looked at me and says, "I got an idea. How about I be a patron, and we put together an art show, make a body of work, and then I'll throw a party and invite people, and I'll sell the stuff for you, and you could keep all the money." So he didn't buy any paintings there. Instead, he offered me a complete patronship.
So what did you understand he meant by becoming your patron?
Well, it was going to financially make it possible for me to just paint every day and put together a body of work, so that way then it could be sold.
How did he plan to do that?
Objection to what he planned on doing.
What did you understand he planned to do to make that possible for you?
I could tell you that what it included was that the next day I ended up moving into I moved into a art studio penthouse at the Eastern Columbia building. It was, listen, I got a place for you to go ahead and live and work and put this body of art together, and I'll take care of you. You don't have to worry about anything.
And what was the place where you were going to live that Mr. Depp offered you?
The Eastern Columbia building.
Did you take him up on that offer to live at the Eastern Columbia building?
Yeah, of course.
And how did that make you feel?
I started crying. One day you're in your mother's garage selling paintings for $100, $200, $300 on eBay. Next thing you know, it's an art show, and like you don't have to worry about Diddly Squat. Of course. I was flipping out.
When did you move into the Eastern Columbia building?
The next day after we met and we talked. The next day, I get a phone call from a guy named Kevin Murphy, who is working for Johnny, and I go and he says, "Hey, meet me at this address." And I go and I meet him, and here I am in front of this building. This is a beautiful building. This is like, it's 13 floors, but it's like from the 1930s, some Art Deco, beautiful building. And I'm looking, I'll go, all right, this is unreal. What, there's going to be, all right, it's going to be one of these apartments or whatever, one of these places here. I go in with Kevin Murphy. He takes me all the way up to the roof. We go into penthouse 2, and I walk in and I'm like crying, going, it's beautiful. This is like a mansion situation to me.